If you've ever known what you should do, but you can't get yourself to do it, this is the video for you. My name is Michael Tessalona. After years of struggle, I built 2 7-figure businesses in 1 year. And this channel is about sharing the things that I've learned and documenting the journey. A lot of times people encounter this thing where they know exactly what to do, but they just can't get themselves to do it. And what I've found is there's actually one thing that you can do which will finally get your butt into action, and that is changing your beliefs. In this video, I'm going to share 5 different beliefs that have helped me achieve goals and achieve and take action on things that I previously found almost impossible. Some of these beliefs have to do with business, other ones have to do with health or just, overall well-being. I think the inquiry for you is, what belief can you change that's going to have a massive impact on what it is you're trying to achieve? Okay, so for this first belief, here's a little bit of a backstory. Since October of last year, it's currently April, I decided to go on a bulk, which was essentially me just making an excuse to eat garbage pretty much every day. And at January, I stepped on the scale. I realized that I really need to change this thing around. And so I decided, okay, here it is. I'm going to get in shape. I started working out like crazy. But January, February, March, I'm realizing, wait a second, I'm working out a ton. I'm running about 5 miles a day, 3-4 days a week, but nothing's changing on the scale. Why is it that I'm still eating, like an idiot? I knew what to do. Everybody knows mostly what it is that needs to be done, but I just couldn't get myself to do it. And finally, what turned this around was this belief that I will not lose body fat unless I track everything that I eat in the MyFitnessPal app. That was the big belief. This is never going to work unless I track everything that I eat in the MyFitnessPal app. It turns out that that's actually a really freaking helpful belief to have, because now what I'm getting is I'm getting the accountability, I'm getting the clarity of everything that I'm eating. I'm able to set better goals. I'm able to strategize a little bit better. And I'm also getting a nice little dopamine hit, because every time that I finish a day and I hit my goal in terms of the calories and the macros, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. Let's keep this momentum alive. That's a belief that was able to instantly allow me to do something that for literally 3 months I was stuck at. Another belief had to do with waking up early. I had decided that that was going to be helpful for me to wake up just a couple hours early every single day. But for years, I wasn't able to get it done until finally I adopted the belief that waking up at 5 a.m. 7 days a week was the master key for business success and productivity. Obviously, this is a belief because it's not true, capital T true. There's plenty of people who've had business success way greater than mine. And they probably, some people probably wake up at 10 or at noon or whatever. But for me, this was something that, okay, I think this is going to help me. And actually turns out to massively, massively help me, because a lot of times I'm busy during the weekends. I've got kids. And so as a business owner, I can wake up at 5, get some work done before anyone else in the house wakes up. It's given me a lot of that quiet time to work on my projects without interruptions, and generally just supports my own self-image of being a badass. But this wasn't happening until I had this belief that, okay, this is the master key. And much like the previous belief, this idea that, the only way that I'm going to lose body fat is by tracking everything, with this other belief as well, I'm just repeating this belief over and over in my head. I just repeat it over and over and over in my head until my brain finally gets it. Third belief that's had a huge impact, especially of late, is this belief that almost any problem in business can be solved by getting the right people in the same room often enough. This is a belief that has 2 parts, and it also has a method attached to it. So I really love this one for extra reasons. The first one is that almost every problem in business can be solved. That alone is a tremendous belief for you to have, especially as an entrepreneur, especially as somebody who's trying to solve things. And by the way, along the lines of this, I think sometimes putting your problems and your challenges in perspective are super helpful. If I'm working on getting leads at a cheaper price, for example, for my agency, I could think about, Elon Musk and the fact that he's building rockets, and be like, wow, the problem that I'm trying to solve is way less complex. It's way less difficult than what other things, there's people who came up with forget whatever you feel about the vaccine, good or bad. The fact that, we were able to come up with a vaccine for the coronavirus. It's pretty tremendous that people were able to come up with that in that time. And so anyway, two parts of the goal, two parts of the belief. Number one, almost any problem in business can be solved. And then the second part is by getting the right people in the same room often enough. What I love about the second part is that it's actually a prescription. It's a methodology. And that method is by, using the mastermind principle. It's taking advantage of teamwork. Since acquiring this belief, it's had me approach problems in a different way. It's had me sort of look at things more on the lines of resource management. What resources do we need to bring to bear? What creativity do we need to get in a room? How often do we need to meet? That's another, resource allocation type problem. Turns out that it's pretty effective. Fourth belief, this one super helpful just in terms of your well-being, is this idea that everything is my fault. So this is something I picked up a couple of years ago after reading Jocko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership. In it, he talks about the power that comes from taking ownership for everything, even things that are very obviously not your fault. The problem is if you ever catch yourself saying like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened, or how could that happen to me? You're basically just like, just setting yourself up for misery and unhappiness and despair, and probably not making a lot of money because you're painting yourself as a victim. By saying it is my fault, you are painting yourself, you're framing it in a very powerful way. You're allowing yourself to see what it is, where do you have a say in the matter? Where can you be a cause for action, a cause for something else? And it's something that surprisingly not a lot of people, will do. Sometimes in business, something will go wrong with the client. The client will be upset for whatever reason. Even if the client was 80% wrong about the thing, we always focus on the 20% or 10% in which it was our fault, because that is where we have the opportunity to improve things. That's where we have the opportunity to get better, even in an unfortunate and oftentimes, not fun situation. The fifth belief is another super powerful one because it's a combination of a belief and it's a combination of a methodology. The belief is that I will eventually win. So the first part about the belief is I will eventually win. There's no stopping me if I am always increasing understanding. That's the belief. I will always win. I will eventually always win if I am increasing my understanding. It's a belief, and it's a belief tied to another methodology. I've talked before in this channel about standing on a method and having confidence in a method is actually true confidence. It's not saying I feel good, I feel comfortable, I feel great about this because I've got irrational exuberance. You're standing on a method and you have confidence in the method. And you can always look at the method with the logic to see if it actually holds true. I do call it a belief though, because it doesn't count for all the outside factors. I will eventually win. What if there's a nuclear holocaust? Well, I guess it didn't matter what method you're applying. There was a nuclear holocaust, so you're not going to achieve that goal. Barring all that stuff aside, increasing understanding will get you there. This is a methodology that I picked up a couple of years ago from a mentor. His name is David Mills. His YouTube channel, Law of Implication. Definitely check that out. And he talks about, it's all about increasing your understanding and then also feeling confident when you increase your understanding because, oh my gosh, I just had progress. I just increased my understanding. Even if I came against an obstacle, that obstacle allows me to understand a little bit more. So I'm always winning. It's a great thing. You're always winning when you're applying this method. This is also something that I've seen pan out with pretty much everything that I've had success in my life. I've talked about how when I was a white belt in jiu-jitsu, how I looked at the purple belts and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine being that good. Well, guess what? I would show up and increase my understanding, increase it. And then after 4 years, I was able, to get a purple belt. It's something that I teach my kids. My daughter loves to figure skate. And what I do with her is I actually point out the girls who have been doing this for 10 years and the moves that they're able to do. And I tell her, I'm like, Isabel, if you just continue showing up, if you continue practicing over and over and over again, you will eventually get there, because I want her to see the method in action so that she can have confidence in it moving forward. One of the things that can be just so crippling for yourself in life, it can really just suck out your confidence. It can suck out, your belief that you can accomplish anything, is if you know what to do on something, what'll help you, but you can't get yourself to do it. So if that is the case for you in any area, think about this. Think about what are your beliefs, and think about, somebody who doesn't have this problem, What beliefs does that person have that's driving them forward? I hope you've liked this video. If so, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.